welcome to another exciting episode of the Blind Judgment Podcast. I'm Hugh. This is my co-host, Jay.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. So together we dive into some truly bizarre true crime stories. If you're new here, let me explain to you how we like to kick things off. So we begin each episode by sharing a collection of photos that are connected to the crime in some way. And Jay here, he often finds himself a little bit lost.
Excuse me?
Let's be real. And he's going to use these images as hints to try to unravel the mystery of the case. And I think I'm supposed to start grading you at the end of the episode. Is that right?
It is some feedback that some of our loyal fans, or actually it was just one, it wasn't plural. One fan gave us was that maybe you can develop some kind of grading scale that you can use to grade me at the end.
All right. I think that sounds...
Did you come up with that scale? Or are you going to come up with it on the fly?
I'm going to come up with it later. I don't know. Okay, anyways. So, I sent you those pictures. I texted them to you. All right.
Why are you going to bring up the grading thing and then not do it?
Okay, all right, listen. I will grade you. I'll give you a grade. But I want you to know I'm kind of a harsh critic. So, I'm going to be a difficult grader. So
well,
keep that
I would
in
expect
mind.
nothing less, bro.
Yeah, so keep that in mind as you're coming up with your story.
All right.
So look at these pictures. I sent them to you.
All right. Bossy.
Bossy. Boss babe.
All right. First picture is of, oh my God, this is your favorite place. We were there a couple hours ago.
Woo!
Target.
Target.
I used to work at Target, but I quit.
Okay. Why did you quit? Tell them the story of your quit.
Well, they wouldn't give me time off whenever midterms came around and I needed to study. And
so then you crashed your car in the parking lot.
I was very mad because they did take me into the back room. They had a talking with me. And I was very disrespectful the whole time they were talking to me. I had like a little walkie-talkie. You know how the Target people have walkie-talkies? And I was just tossing it up in the air the whole time they were talking to me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, super disrespectful. And then they were like, all right, you can go home now. And it was nighttime and it was a little bit like foggy and wet outside. And I was like, I'm mad. And I peeled off in the parking lot and I nearly lost control and rammed my car into wherever, the cart where you put your cart. That would have been so embarrassing. Like if I wrecked my car and had to go back inside and be like, hey, boss. I need your help.
I just wrecked.
I would have to have
car.
called them on the walkie-talkie and like everybody would heard me on line 6. I just wrecked my car in the parking lot. I need assistance. Clean up.
So it's Target special, and not only that, because we also had our first smooch. Oh wait, are we not supposed to be in a relationship?
I think people have said it's very obvious that we're in one, so you can spill the beans.
We had our first kiss in a Target parking lot.
I told you it's her favorite place on earth, and that's why.
Pretty much. It's true.
So there's a lot of history with Target parking lots, apparently.
We love a good Target parking lot. Stay tuned.
Yeah. All right. So first picture is of a Target. Second picture is of a graduating class. Looks like moments right before they throw their caps in the air. Third photo is an old school flip phone. Love to see it. Fourth photo is of the woods. And fifth picture is of a present, a gift wrapped up Christmas style. Now, is this just a generic picture of a gift, or because the wrapping paper says something about an anniversary and has a heart on it? So
when have I ever given you additional details with the pictures?
Well, maybe this is, something new that I'm trying on, which is not being so dumb.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Let's lay some ground rules. I will not be giving you any additional hints. You have to come up with this completely on your own. So for our listeners, the reason why we do this, or why I came up with this, is it's supposed to be like, like how the FBI will do those personality tests where they flash an image on the screen and then the person has to come up with like the first word in their head that they think of whenever they see it. So that's kind of a branch of what we're doing here. So of course I'm not going to give you any hints.
Okay, you hard ass. See if I ever give you any more smooches in a Target.
Oh, how dare you. We sound like we hate each other in this. Is that the vibe?
I think, yeah, maybe it's the vibe.
Okay.
I'm leaning with it, and I'm going to rock with it.
I am not rocking with it. Okay, so tell me what you think your story is going to be. What do you think the case is going to be about?
I'm always so self-conscious because I'm so bad at putting theories together, but
I feel like this one's kind of on the nose. I made this one a little easier.
Great. Now I'm more self-conscious.
Okay.
All right. So here's what I think happened. Since we got the graduating class photo, we're talking about young people here, okay? And so somebody needed to get a gift for somebody that was graduating. So where did they go? Target. Okay, so they go to Target to get this gift. Then, when they go to make the delivery, this person is not around, so they can't be given the gift. And later we find cell phone records showing that that person went missing in the woods. And this is the story of...
That was pretty good. I'm going to say that one was really, really good.
Okay, honestly, I'm tired of you saying that it was really good.
No, I mean, you'll see once we get to the end of this episode. Like that was, I feel like you're
saying I'm going to get a good grade?
In the B+ to A- range. Like that's pretty good. You did quite well.
Okay.
But I guess when this episode is over, we will truly see how well you did.
All right, cool. Let's do it then.
All right. Well, are you locking that in? That's your final answer?
I am locking it in.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Wait, hold on. I have a special announcement.
Okay.
This is our 12th episode.
That's true.
Do you know the significance of our 12th episode?
Well, is it because our next episode will be the 13th episode?
I mean, that is kind of special, but it's not what I'm getting at here.
Oh, okay. Well, then what is it?
Our 12th episode checks off one of our to-do items on becoming sponsored on Spotify.
No way. Target, sponsor us. Specifically, Target parking lots. Sponsor us.
Yeah, whoever's in charge of making Target parking lots,
please sponsor this podcast.
For sure.
Well, that's really exciting. I didn't know that. 12 episodes.
We have to post at least 12 episodes before we can monetize. Wow. We also have to have like 1 billion listening minutes. So we're not anywhere close to becoming monetized. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to entertain you folks, okay? And to caress your earlobes with our sexy voices.
Or we're just here to have fun.
Oh, yeah, we're here to have fun.
And we're here to have a lot of fun.
All right, cool. I'm done with my announcement.
Well, wait, I think there does need to be one more announcement. So I was right in saying that our next episode is the 13th episode. And your favorite number is 13. So what does that mean?
That is true. And I do believe Friday the 13th is approaching.
Oh.
And so all I'm going to say is stay tuned, folks. Subscribe, turn on your alerts because there's something special coming.
Something special. All right. Well, are you ready to get started with this case?
I am so ready.
All right. So this week we will be covering the case of Kelsey Smith. Have you heard of this one before?
No.
Okay, that's what I was hoping for. So now, before we get into the case, I'm actually going to give you and our listeners a quick geography lesson. Okay.
Girl, you know I need it.
All right, so we're going to talk about the greater Kansas City metropolitan area. So the city itself, like Kansas City, is actually in the state of Missouri. However, the Kansas City metropolitan area sits on the Missouri-Kansas border. And its suburbs are some of the most densely populated areas in both of those states. And I'm talking like for both Missouri and Kansas, like just the suburbs of the Kansas City area are like the second, third, sometimes like the first most populated city in both of these states. Now, granted, they're small states, but it's still worth noting. And I'm actually going to show you a quick picture so you have that idea. Give me just 1 second. Okay, so here is the greater Kansas City area. So here's Kansas City right here on the Missouri border. And then on the other side, you've got like Lawrence, you've got Olathe, Overland Park. On the Missouri side, you've got like Independence, Missouri, Lee Summit. These are like the biggest cities. Okay. And this is going to be important for the case. So on the Kansas side, you have Johnson County. And then on the Missouri side, you've got Jackson County.
Jackson and Johnson.
Jackson and Johnson. Also, fun fact for our Mormon listeners, the Mormons believe that the Garden of Eden was in Jackson County, Missouri. So that's a little... Anyways, so because this is a large area spanning 2 states, it's such a large population, sometimes the law enforcement jurisdiction can be kind of unclear.
I see where you're going with this.
Here's where we're going. So again, suburbs are pretty big. And one of the biggest on the Kansas side is actually the second largest city in the state of Kansas. It's called Overland Park. So now in June of 2007, Kelsey Smith has just graduated from Shawnee Mission West High School in Overland Park, Kansas. And I'm going to show you some pictures of Kelsey really quickly. All right, so here's Kelsey right here.
Okay. Looks like, yep. Hey, those look like my high school colors.
Oh,
black and gold,
fun.
baby.
Black and gold. That's cool. So here's Kelsey here. This is one of her senior photos. Here she is. She's the middle child of 5. She has 2 older sisters. There's Kelsey in the middle, and then she has 2 younger siblings. And then here she is with her parents, her mom, Missy, and her dad, Greg. And then we have a couple more pictures of her. Here she is. She loves her cell phone. There she is. Here she is with her parents, and then just another one of her senior photos.
She looks like she'd be around my age.
Yes, so she graduated in 2007, and she actually, so we're talking about June of 2007, so she turned 18 on May 9th. So she just turned 18. She just graduated high school. She's about like your age.
You think she was any good at Snake?
What's that?
Oh my God, there's an age difference, people. Snake, the game on the cell phones.
Oh, where you're a snake and you have to eat things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what we were doing back then. Like when we weren't listening to geography about Missouri and Kansas. It's because we were playing Snake.
That's why you don't know your geography. It's because you were too busy playing Snake on your phone.
Not just kidding. We actually, we were playing Mario on the TI-83 calculators. We found a way to load up video games on there. And there was this one called Block Dude.
Block Dude?
Yeah.
Was that knockoff for Mario?
No, Block. We did have Mario on there, but we also had this one called Block Dude, which was a puzzle game. And you had to move the blocks around, and you had to like get yourself to the exit, but all these blocks were in the way. And yeah, you just kind of see how far you can go in a class, like how many levels you can get through. And then you'll tell the next person like, hey, I left the calculator in this desk. I got to level 63. And then they're like, I'll beat your level. And then, you know, they would or they wouldn't. But that's what we did in public school.
Wow. Exciting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Thank you for your dissertation about Black Dude. So yeah, June 2007, she just celebrated her birthday, just turned 18. She's an adult now, graduated from high school. So when she was in high school, she was a band member. She played clarinet. She was an excellent clarinet player. She was actually set to go to Kansas State in the fall, and she was going to play clarinet in the marching band there. So she's got a lot of really exciting things going on in her life. Additionally, she has a boyfriend, John.
Ooh.
Yeah, so she went to school with him. They were friends for a little while, but then they eventually started dating. Things are going super well for them, and they're very happy.
Oh my God, did they have their first kiss in a Target parking lot? Is that why you had a picture of Target?
Can you imagine if they did? I mean, I don't know, but
you don't know.
That would be
it could have
pretty cool.
It could have happened.
So, just days after she graduated, on June 2nd, Kelsey decides to head to the local Target to pick up a few items for a gift for her boyfriend, as they are going to celebrate their 6-month anniversary that evening.
The wrapping paper was a clue.
So she drives there. She goes into the store. She's all cheerful, excited. She grabbed a couple items that she thought would make the perfect gift. She was picking up a picture frame that she was going to put a picture of them in, and that was going to be her gift for him. So that's really cool.
From a guy's perspective, he would have thought that was kind of lame.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if that's what you got me for Christmas, I'll love it forever. But I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh. Well, who wouldn't love a picture of you with your girlfriend? Come on.
I mean, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Wow. This is about to be the final episode of the Blind Judgment podcast.
Come on, a high school kid. You think he wants a picture frame?
Well, then what does he want?
He wants like an Xbox game or, like silly putty or bouncy balls
or block boy, block
dude.
He wants Black Dude.
It's impressive that we were able to mod TI-83 calculators to play games, okay?
No, I'm not disputing that. I do think that that's very interesting. It's a very good piece of information. Please add it into the podcast.
Stay in your lane, okay? I'm the editor. I choose what goes in and out of the podcast.
You're going to give me a bad edit, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
No. Okay.
We're getting
we
so
need to reel it back in.
Yeah.
Come on. We need to get back on the tracks. So while still inside the store, she actually called her mom to ask her where she could find the picture frames in that store. And she's like chatting with her for a couple of minutes. They talk about her plans for the evening. She's super excited. She says to her mom, okay, like I'll see you in a little bit. And she hangs up and she goes to check out. Video surveillance catches her walking out of the store. And I'll show you a couple stills from it. But this video has always stuck with me. And I don't know if it's just not to completely dox myself, but I'm from one of these states that we're discussing. And this video surveillance was all over the news at the time. So it's just something that I feel like I always think about whenever I think about video surveillance as it pertains to a crime.
Okay.
So there's just something about her. She's rushing out of the store, carrying gift paper and bags. She's walking super fast. I don't know. Here, I'm going to show it to you, some stills really, really quickly.
Okay.
And this is the last time.
Quit yapping and show me the pictures already.
that anyone sees Kelsey.
Okay, yeah. She's got like wrapping paper in one hand and a bag in the other.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So here she is walking into the store, and then that's the still from the video of her walking out of the store.
She looks like she's determined.
She's on her way. And this is the last time that anyone sees Kelsey.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. So what thoughts do you have?
I think, on a for real note, that she never makes it to her boyfriend's house. And instead, something happens to her.
So you think this is not looking good?
Obviously, it was the last time she was seen.
Okay, all right. You got me there. So you think that this is not looking good? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm being a gooby. All right.
But yeah, I'm thinking that something happened to her from the time she got in her car in the parking lot, and I guess she never made it to her boyfriend. I'm gonna say she never got to her boyfriend.
All right. So Kelsey had talked to her mom around 7 p.m. and she was supposed to meet her boyfriend at her house at 7:30. So 7:30 rolls around and there's no Kelsey. Now this Target is like 8 to 10 minutes down the road, just like down from her house.
So the boyfriend was going over to her house.
Her boyfriend was going to meet her at her her house. And so it was like 10 minutes down the road. She's not answering any phone calls, any texts, and even though she's 18, she's an adult and she can do whatever she wants. She's still young and she lives with her parents. I mean, she just turned 18. Like, she's pretty much still a kid, you know? So that's very alarming for her mom and dad. Her dad is actually a police officer.
Okay.
So they immediately alert the authorities and they are calling hospitals. And so they start to search for her. So approximately 4 hours later, her car, which was a 1987 Buick Regal, was found abandoned in the parking lot of a Macy's at Oak Park Mall, which is just across the street from the Target.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the vehicle were her purse, wallet, and the items that she had recently bought. And all of this raised immediate concerns about her well-being.
Yep.
Yeah. So because she just disappeared in public, there is a lot of surveillance video associated with this case. There's actually a video for every place that she was. And it's reviewed by investigators. The footage captures Kelsey parking her car in a well-lit area of the lot. She enters the store with a smile. She makes a call to her mother. She's seen selecting some items, the ones that were later discovered in her car. But something is a little off. So they quickly notice a young white male in his early 20s wearing a white shirt and dark shorts who entered the store about 30 seconds after her. He is seen in nearly every aisle that she visited, keeping a low profile and blending in with other shoppers.
Weird.
So although he frequently glanced her way, he did not approach her. He didn't try talking to her. He maintained a distance that seemed kind of like calculated, very strange, very calculated. He exits the store just as she was at the checkout. And to be clear, the cashier noted nothing unusual about Kelsey's behavior. Like, she didn't seem concerned or frightened or worried. Like, maybe she didn't notice this guy following her around the store.
Right.
So things take a darker turn when investigators reviewed the parking lot surveillance video. And initially, the footage appeared pretty, like, ordinary. They see Kelsey walking back out to her car, puts her items in the passenger seat, goes around to her driver's seat. And as she approaches the door, the footage shows this figure approaching her car at like a super fast speed. They are like sprinting towards her. Additionally, the outside footage captures a super suspicious Chevrolet truck from the 1970s leaving the lot. And that truck actually entered the parking lot just before she had disappeared. So this truck has faded paint, super rusted. It's like banged up. So it's pretty. It's an unusual truck.
Gotcha. It stands out.
It stands out. So the surveillance footage from the Macy's parking lot reveals that her car was parked there at roughly 9:17 p.m. So that was about 2 hours after she left the parking lot. A person dressed in a white shirt and dark shorts was captured on the video exiting the car and sprinting towards the street. So due to the low light conditions, it's the middle of the night. It's impossible to determine the individual's gender. But the way that they were dressed, the shirt, the shorts, it seemed to align with that suspect that was seen in the Target video.
Right.
So when the still image of the man gets shared with the public, it sparks a flood of tips. But the footage is just kind of grainy. I mean, this is 2007. It's not super clear. And it's just too vague to provide any real leads. It doesn't really go anywhere.
Okay.
Right? So upon examining her car, again, they find her purse, her ID, items from Target, but now they are looking for forensic clues. So fingerprint analysts were able to identify some prints from individuals who had legitimate reasons to be in the vehicle. So this was her parents, her friends, her boyfriend, but they did also find some unidentified fingerprints on the seatbelt.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go any further, I just want to check in and see where you're at, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts.
I'm feeling good about my predictions and my theories.
Okay.
Do I have any questions about anything? No, I think I don't. Continue on, producer.
All right, we're hot on the trail. So they find her purse in the car, and inside her purse is her cell phone. So this becomes an important part of the case because obviously Kelsey is missing, and whoever kidnapped her took her to another location. And as the car drives to another location, her phone will ping different cell towers. So those locations could potentially lead investigators to Kelsey or to evidence that could help find her. However, there is a significant delay in obtaining these cell phone records from Verizon Wireless. It took about 4 days, and this actually caused a lot of controversy. So because of privacy laws at the time in 2007, they had no legal obligation to give up that information. They didn't have to provide authorities with that info. It was just kind of they could give it out if they wanted to, or they didn't have to. They could take them to court, but again, that would take a super long time. And a person is missing, you need that information. So that's just how it was in that era. So eventually, an FBI agent is able to get a technician from Verizon to help, and they pinpoint a specific cell tower in Grandview, Missouri, which is another Kansas City suburb, and it's about 20 minutes from Overland Park, where this target was, where she was abducted. And then they recommend these precise areas where they should go investigate. And just about 45 minutes later, on June 6th at 1:30 p.m., search teams locate Kelsey Smith's body in a wooded area near Longview Lake in Grandview, Missouri. She was found nude with only her belt tied around her neck. Her clothing was strewn nearby and appeared to have been doused in bleach. Sticks and branches were placed on top of her in an attempt to conceal her body. She was beaten, sexually assaulted, and strangled to death by her own belt.
So they found her body using the cell phone information they got from Verizon?
That is correct, yes.
But the cell phone wasn't... That was the only thing missing from her purse or her car?
It wasn't even missing. So it was in her car.
Oh,
so her abductor probably drove her car to this
Back.
location to assault her. And
and then
drove back. But because the cell phone was traveling to these areas, and this is wherever, and for listeners, they do this all. There are numerous cases where they've used this now. Anytime your cell phone goes anywhere, it pings a tower. So that's essentially how they were able to find her. Now, this made statewide news for both states. Again, not to dox myself, I'm from one of these states. And this was absolutely like all over the news. I don't know, was your family a news family? I feel like we always like watched the news together.
Nah, we were a telenovela family.
Oh, a telenovela family. Okay, I get it. But I was just thinking, as I was researching this case, like that's probably the reason why I'm so interested in true crime is because we literally watch news all the time.
You think it's why you're also interested in Target?
That's probably why I love Target and Target parking lots. Okay. All right, let's bring it back. So a woman in Olathe, Kansas was watching the news and the surveillance video comes on. And when the perpetrator comes on the screen, she immediately recognized him as her neighbor. And she takes it upon herself to report her findings to the authorities. By the following day, particularly after noticing specific details about a truck that seemed to match the one associated with the suspect, she's like, that is my neighbor's truck, okay?
Yeah.
So this crucial tip actually leads to a swift response from law enforcement. So police eventually apprehend 26-year-old Edwin Roy, he goes by Jack Hall. And at the time of his arrest, he tells law enforcement that he is in the process of leaving town with his wife and young son for a family vacation.
Oh, okay.
Or also because you just killed a girl. Who knows? So hang on. Let's talk about this guy really quick. I've got some pictures of him for you.
Let me see this dirt bag.
Look at this dirt bag. Here.
Ew.
So gross. Like nasty.
Why does his head look like just floating in that one picture?
I think he was arrested without wearing a shirt, so they put a blanket on him.
Yeah, he looks like just a sad, depressed, angry dude.
Super gross. So he didn't have a criminal record as an adult, but he had quite the juvenile rap sheet. So he had actually been adopted at the age of 7 by the Hall family. And this family, they seemed to be very sweet. Very much like salt of the earth people. They had 3 grown daughters, and then they decided to adopt a young boy and give him, the best life possible. But he was actually returned to state custody at the age of 15 after a troubling incident where he threatened one of his adopted sisters with a knife.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, and this incident was not isolated at all. He had a history of violent behavior, including an assault on another boy with a baseball bat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's just...
Like I said, he just looks angry.
He's just a really bad kid. Yeah. So at the time of his arrest, he was married and he had a 4-year-old son. So he gets arrested, he's questioned, and he admits to being at that Target store where Kelsey was last seen. But he claims that he never approached her. However, his defense begins to crumble when they fingerprint him and they're able to cross-reference the fingerprints on the seatbelt in Kelsey's car, and they are a match.
Boom.
Yeah, so they've got him. So Hall is formally charged with premeditated first-degree murder and aggravated kidnapping. He is arraigned via video, and his bond was set at $5 million.
Slang.
I don't even know why he got a bond, but it was $5 million. And as the case progresses, a grand jury in Johnson County, Kansas, indicts him on multiple serious charges, including first-degree murder, rape, and aggravated sodomy. These charges not only show how much of a monster he truly is, but they also made him eligible for the death penalty.
Ooh.
However, the Johnson County District Attorney decided not to pursue the death penalty, which is a major bummer. I don't know if I feel like maybe that gets a little bit too political to let our listeners know I'm pro death penalty. All right, so her body was discovered in Missouri, but the initial crime occurred in Kansas. So this sparked significant legal discussions regarding the appropriate jurisdiction for this prosecution. So given that the body was found in a different state, there were these considerations about whether or not federal jurisdiction should be invoked. So, like, should this be a federal case? Is this a case for the feds? However, the circumstances of his arrest played a pretty serious role in determining the legal proceedings. So, since he was arrested and detained in Johnson County, that was the jurisdiction that retained the authority for this case. And those prosecutors were able to move forward with their charges. So this is a Kansas case now.
Got it.
So on July 23rd, Hall makes the decision to enter a guilty plea on all 4 charges against him as part of a plea agreement. And this unfolded during what was supposed to be this change of venue hearing. Again, like we discussed, there was that whole confusion on, is this a Missouri case, federal case, or Kansas case? But he decides that's the point where he's going to plead guilty. And there were a ton of people at this hearing. It's actually recorded. You can see this information online. The entire Smith family was there, Kelsey's friends, numerous reporters. And this is also right after the prosecutor announced that he is not going to pursue the death penalty for Hall. But he pleads guilty. Death penalty is off the table. So he gives an official confession as part of his plea. He gives an official confession as part of his plea. And he recounts the crime, and he claims that he noticed Kelsey as she arrived at the Target parking lot shortly after him. He told investigators that he thought she was 12 years old and that she had nice legs. Observing that she was alone, he decided to go in and follow her throughout the store to make sure that she wasn't meeting anyone. As she prepared to leave the store, he seized the opportunity to go back to his truck and get a gun. He chose to strike at the moment when she was most vulnerable, which was just as she was about to enter her car. He hit her with the butt of his gun, and following that assault, he drove her into the remote Missouri woods, where he proceeded to violently sexually assault her and then strangle her, which ultimately ended in her death.
And he thought he was doing this to a 12-year-old. Well, I guess once he saw that she was going to get in a car and drive.
I think we need a breather. This is so horrifying. Do you have any thoughts?
No, I mean, that's just crazy. I always wonder, what is it that about that moment that sent that person to commit that crime, right? Like, I know he was violent before, but
it's like a crime of opportunity.
I know, but like, what was it that opportunity presented itself on that day, right? Like, did something push him over the edge that day, earlier that day? Those are the things I always am so curious about, right? Like, what was it that made him see her and then just get this crazy idea and actually carry it out?
Yeah, to get to
like, what led him to that point, right?
Well, he said in his confession that he was in that shopping complex earlier in the day, and he was kind of following other women around, but he didn't pursue anything.
So is that what made it premeditated then? Like,
that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, he was just, okay, so...
he was looking for a victim, and unfortunately, Kelsey was busy. She was trying to grab some last-minute stuff for her gift, and she just was completely not paying attention. She was in her own world.
Yeah. And so I guess it'd be cool to hear, like, what led him, again, to
get to this point where you
like, hey, I'm going to go stalk people at the shopping center. Like, is this something he's been planning for a while? Did something happen at home that triggered him, like put him in a bad mood, and now he's just rebelling or retaliating? Those types of things are things I think about. But yeah.
No, I mean, I think about it, and again, I mean, I've known about this case for a long time, but it's just, I think about how many times do I go into Target, like actual Target, and I'm in my own world and I'm not paying attention, and I'm, a woman by myself. Like, how many times has this happened to me unbeknownst to me, where someone is stalking you and following you around the store?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so creepy. So, all right. So ultimately, on September 16th, the judge delivered a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole for Edwin Hall. And this encompasses the charges of kidnapping, rape, and murder. During the court proceedings, Hall expressed his remorse to the Smith family. Obviously acknowledging this profound impact that this horrifying crime has had on their lives. And in an interview, her parents claim that they don't accept his apology and they don't care if he's sorry because that's not going to bring Kelsey back.
Right.
So currently he's serving his life sentence at the Hutchinson Correctional Facility in Hutchinson, Kansas, and he will remain there for the duration of his life.
If he got prosecuted in Missouri, do you think he would have gotten the death penalty?
Well, I think so, because Missouri is a death penalty state. And they are, let me tell you, they are hardcore about it too. And they do put inmates to death.
Did the family fight to get the case tried over there?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay.
So, all right. So let's talk about the aftermath of this. So, like we said, so a lot of people were clocking Verizon Wireless for hesitating to track the ping on the cell towers due to their privacy regulations surrounding such practices. And back then, they didn't have to. They didn't have to give out this information. However, so this situation, and it's mostly Kelsey's mom and dad, they made this like their life's work. They helped establish the Kelsey Smith Act, which essentially allows or it makes cell phone companies locate a device if the authorities believe that the subscriber is in peril. And this is currently it's in 23 states in the US. They're looking to make it a federal law. And this has already helped find missing people. It's aided some homicide investigations, multiple crimes. So as horrifying and upsetting and terrible as Kelsey's death was, at least there is something positive that's coming out of it.
Yeah, it just sucks that it had to obviously get to that point.
It's just sad. Absolutely.
Change to happen. But that's usually how things go.
That's usually how things go. All right. So let's round this out. Let's get to the conclusion. So this is just one of those absolute nightmare cases. I think any woman who goes anywhere by herself in the evening, this is a fear that we all have, just being at the wrong place at the wrong time, crime of opportunity, absolutely devastating. The only good outcome is that this guy is locked up forever and he can't hurt anyone else anymore. So with that, what are your thoughts on this case?
For everybody out there, just don't be oblivious to your surroundings.
Be safe.
Be safe. Be alert. Don't be suspicious of everybody, but definitely just be aware of your surroundings. And not to say that would have prevented any of this from happening, but yeah, I mean, you just never know when that moment's gonna be. So
it's a cautionary tale.
Yep. Just gotta be on alert.
So with that, I'm gonna give you a B+ for your story at the beginning, your assumption, your judgment.
I'll take it. I think I deserve an A-, but I know you don't even have a scale, and I know you said you're going to work on one.
I will give you a grading rubric. We'll work on this.
Okay, because I showed my work, and
yeah, you've done a really good job.
Anyways,
all right. Well, that is all I have for you guys for this episode.
And we will see y'all on the next one.
I guess we'll see you on the next
one.
The
13th one.
Ooh, okay. Okay, bye-bye.
Later, y'all.